sandwiches, ice cream, coffee and snacks, and many other pleasing treats. Our foods are fresh and tasty, our drinks satisfying and refreshing. They're so good.
Welcome to Average Joe's Drive-In.
And now, on with the show.
81 episodes. That's what number we're on. I'm quite amazed. It's been over a year now. The show is still going. It's always evolving. And we are at episode 81. There, I hope I threw everyone off by not doing the same intro I do every week. Just, it's fun to change shit up once in a while. Anyway, this is a Reviewcast, and a bunch of movies to talk about and review. Some newer stuff, some older stuff, DVDs, Blu-rays, streaming, the usual. If you've listened to the show before, you know what it's all about. If you haven't, well, brace yourselves, go get a snack, maybe a beverage of some sort. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we're going to kick it off with 2018's Avengers: Infinity War.
There was an idea
to bring together a group of remarkable people.
to see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
Evacuate the city. Engage all defenses. And get this man a shield.
Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe. But this does put a smile on my face. Who the hell are you guys?
This is an action-adventure fantasy directed by the Russo brothers. It's a 149-minute runtime, rated PG-13, stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo. I watched this on Vudu. Synopsis: Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, and the rest of the Avengers unite to battle their most powerful enemy yet, the evil Thanos. On a mission to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, Thanos plans to use the artifacts to inflict his twisted will on reality. The fate of the planet and existence itself has never been more uncertain, as everything the Avengers have fought for has led up to this moment. I did well to avoid about every spoiler review of this until I could watch it outside of a few minor things. Like so many movies these days, it's hard for me to get to the theater to see stuff. That and crowds annoy me at the theater, so there's really only certain times I like to go. A friend of mine purchased the digital version of this on Vudu and invited me over to watch it. I was ready. Holy crap. Let's just get the obvious out of the way. I was thoroughly impressed with this. They managed to make a highly entertaining movie with just the right balance of funny, heart, and action. Not only that, but they were basically weaving multiple storylines at once, and it never once felt weird or out of sync. The film looks stunning, the CG is top notch, and the cast we've come to know and love deliver in grand fashion. I know I, for one, am going to be sad to see this generation of actors/characters leave when it's all finished. To me, they've become the characters. Also, Tom Holland, best Spider-Man ever. Just saying. There isn't much else to say about it. It flat out rocked. It's amazing to see how well the MCU has held up over 20 years. It's quite astonishing, really. The consistency and the quality of the films is just unheard of. Lately, they have been knocking it out of the park. I'm looking forward to part 2 and whatever comes next for our heroes. My rating is a 9 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is an 8.7 out of 10. Keeping things rolling in the MCU is 2018's Deadpool 2.
Oh, I shit my pants.
Actually, that may have been me.
Oh, you're living the dreams, DP.
Yeah.
Devil may care attitude. Strong thighs. Beautiful girlfriend.
Sorry I'm late. I was rounding up all the gluten in the world and launching into space where it can't not hurt us ever again.
Kiss me like you miss me, Red.
What in the fuxicle is this?
My name's Cable. I'm here for the kid.
What? The kid?
Move or die.
Kids give us a chance to be better than we used to be. He needs you.
You're a lot smarter than I look. I ain't letting Cable kill this kid. But I can't do this alone.
Can you speak up? It's hard to hear you with that pity dick in your mouth.
We're gonna form a super duper fucking group. We need them tough, morally flexible, and young enough to carry their own franchise for 10 to 12 years. We will be known as X-Force.
Isn't that a little derivative?
You're absolutely right. Now, let's go get our fuck on.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my fears with suckers and fear. Making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go.
Tell me they got that in slow motion. Doing the right thing is messy. But if you want to fight for what's right, sometimes you have to fight dirty. And that is why Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is pure pornography.
Oh, God, I wish I finished college.
It lives up to the hype, plus.
Fuck it, they probably won't even make it 3.
Yeah, why would they? Stop it, too. You killed it.
This is an action-adventure comedy, directed by David Leitch, has a 119-minute runtime, rated R, stars Ryan Reynolds, Josh Brolin, and Morena Baccarin. I watched this on Blu-ray. Synopsis. Foul-mouthed mutant mercenary Wade Wilson, a.k.a. Deadpool, brings together a team of fellow mutant rogues to protect a young boy with supernatural abilities from the brutal, time-traveling cyborg Cable. I missed this when it was in the theater and have been patiently waiting for it to come to home video. All of my friends who saw it said it was as good, if not better, than the first one. I loved the first one, so that gave me hope. I snagged a copy as soon as it became available because I figured there was no point in running when I would end up picking it up anyway. I'll be honest, I was pretty damn impressed with this one. All of the things I loved about the first film were still present, and they managed to put enough new elements into the film to keep it fresh. I adore the first film, so it's hard for me to say this is as good, but it's damn close. One thing about the first Deadpool was the fact it got better for me on repeated viewings. I won't know if that does that the same way until then. The story arc is interesting and was honestly a bit unexpected. The comedy hits in all the right ways. Ryan Reynolds is charismatic and charming as usual. The support cast nails it. The fight scenes are fun, original, and well done. Everything about this works, and it works well. In many cases with sequels, I expect a huge drop-off from the previous film. I'm happy to say there's none of that here. If you love the first one, it's a safe bet you'll love this one. My rating is a 9 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 7.9 out of 10. Up next, 2018's The Happy Time Murders.
I love singing and dancing. Hiya, folks.
For 50 cents, I'll suck your dick.
Well, it's a great price. It almost makes me wish I had a dick for you to suck.
Oh, I'll take that as a yes.
You two are the most decorated officers in this department. What do you see?
Looks like a rubber gone wrong to me.
This wasn't a robbery, this was a hit.
What the?
Someone out there is killing puppets.
Hey, handsome. You looking for some rotten cotton?
I'm a woman.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's even better.
Got a good time for you.
We're gonna catch the bastards who did these murders. Because bodies are gonna start piling up.
You're one of the best damn cops I've ever seen.
I'll have your badge for this. I'm in the fucking FBI.
Oh yeah, what's that stand for? Fucking big idiot?
Cop, good cop, where is your dignity? Where's your empathy? Where is your sympathy? Bad cop.
If shit gets crazy, I'm gonna go crazy as shit.
Is that just a fantasy?
God, are you all right?
I ruptured my hymen.
This pure ecstasy.
I'm not doing this.
Do it.
Oh, sorry about your dead human friend, Phillips.
That is good shit.
Well, fuck me.
Maybe.
Is Phil in?
He's servicing a client.
Is that what I think it is?
Here I go. Here I go. Here I go. Here I go. Here
This is an action comedy crime directed by Brian Henson, has a 91-minute runtime, rated R, stars Melissa McCarthy, Elizabeth Banks, and Maya Rudolph. I watched this in the theater. Synopsis. When the puppet cast of an 80s children's TV show begins to get murdered one by one, a disgraced LAPD detective turned private eye puppet takes on the case. Anybody that listens to the show knows I have been really excited to see this one since I first saw the trailer several months ago. I thought it looked promising. Even with the excitement I had, I was cautiously optimistic. Somewhere, deep in my gut, I had a weird feeling it might not live up to the preconceived hype I had in my head. I debated about seeing it in the theater at all or waiting until it came out on home video. It just so happened I ended up having a few hours to myself while I waited for a friend to get out of work, so I said what the hell and went and saw it. Somewhere in this jumbled mess of a film, there's a good movie. Unfortunately, it just doesn't deliver. 80% of the funny material is given away in the trailer, even if they're not so much in context. There's no oomph, no pizzazz, and no heart. It feels like everyone involved went through the motions and just sort of showed up. There are a handful of funny moments here and there, but for every laugh it feels like there are 5 missed chances. I could deal with a lack of laughs if the story had heart or there were standout performances. And that's where the problem lies. There really were none. The only character I even remotely liked was Bubbles, played by Maya Rudolph. She stood out the most and had some of the better comedic moments in the films, simply because they were subtle and not forced, which is what a lot of the rest of the film felt like. As much as I hate giving a bad review or telling people to not bother with a film, this one misses the mark in about every way. It might be worth a rental, but I wouldn't bother with it in the theater. My rating is a 3 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 5.2 out of 10. Up next, 2017's House Shark.
Theo, what are you still doing up?
I heard a noise.
Stay right there.
Yeah, I read the police report. They looked. They didn't find anything.
Wait, did you hear something, John?
It was some kind of freak suction built up in the pipes from the waste station.
But what did the coroner say? What did he write at first? He said it looked like a shark attack.
Shark! House shark!
That's what I saw for the first time. The house shark. He had the blackest of eyes. Cold and dark. Like a porn star's anus before it's bleached.
That was a big mama jama tooth. I need to think.
I'll catch this nugget for you, but it ain't gonna be easy. Bad fish or mammal or sharky thing.
House shark!
So what's the plan?
We're gonna have to go in there.
In the house?
Well, we're not gonna find the house shack in a mall. We'll find the mall shack in a mall, but we're looking for a house shack. None of my words! Pinch it off, Frank!
Get out the way!
Don't wait for me! Shut him off! Shut us down!
This is an action-adventure comedy directed by Ron Bonk, has a 111-minute runtime. It is not rated, starring Trey Harrison, Michael Merchant, and Wes Reed. I watched this on DVD. Synopsis. When he finds a shark that can travel on land residing in his home, an ex-cop enlists the help of a grizzled former real estate agent and an eccentric house shark expert to kill the beast. I stumbled across this one because of Instagram. Someone posted about it, I added the film company that was making it, and have followed it a bit since. I wasn't sure exactly what they were going for, but it looked like one of those things that could be interesting under the right circumstances. I was able to snag a copy at Walmart of all places, and I was excited to see what it was all about. This is about as unapologetic as they get with what it is. It knows it, it embraces it, and it runs with it full steam ahead. It's a low-budget, absurdly goofy homage to Jaws, and a few other films. Everything about this works because of that fact, and they seem to just roll with it. It has all the issues you often find in lower-budget films, but it doesn't hinder it from being enjoyable. In fact, that aspect actually enhances what's wonderful and awesome about it. This isn't going to be a film everyone's going to enjoy. In fact, I would say outside of a niche group of film lovers and Jaws fanatics, I'm guessing it would just leave people scratching their heads. It's lewd, crude, and goofy. The humor is very tied to what they are referencing, and at times very juvenile. Don't get me wrong, Those are things I loved about it, but they are a big part of the movie, and everyone might not appreciate those aspects. This is one I want to have a bunch of friends over and have fun with, and, it seems like the type of film that would only get better with a crowd. My rating on this is a 6 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 7 out of 10. Up next, 2011's Hobo with a Shotgun.
I used to be like you a long time ago. People look at you and think of how wonderful your future will be. They want you to be something special, like a doctor or a lawyer. I hate to tell you this, but if you grow up here, you're more likely to wind up selling your bodies on the streets or shooting dope from dirty needles in a bus stop. And if you're successful, you'll make money selling junk to crackheads. And you won't think twice about killing someone's wife because you won't even know what was wrong in the first place. Maybe you'll end up like me, a hobo with a shotgun.
This is an action comedy horror directed by Jason Eisner, has an 86-minute runtime. It is not rated. Stars Rutger Hauer, Pasha Abrami, and Rob Wells. I watched this on Blu-ray. Hoping for heaven, but finding an urban hell, a homeless man takes aim at a crime boss and the man's sadistic sons. This is one of those movies I've known about forever, but just never got around to checking out. It had slipped to the deep recesses of the back of my mind when my buddy Dan from the Potato League podcast hooked me up with a copy on Blu-ray. Now, I no longer had any excuses to not check it out. Wow, what a batshit crazy film this is. While I'm not super familiar with the whole Grindhouse era subgenre of film, I know enough about it that this fits perfectly into that mold. It's insanely gory, violent, sleazy, and bonkers. I've always enjoyed Rutger Hauer, and he doesn't disappoint. He completely kicks ass in this. His wild and crazy performance feels weirdly grounded, which makes it even more awesome. Again, like House Shark, this isn't a film everyone will enjoy. You just kind of have to roll with it, take it for what it is, and enjoy the bizarre, blood-soaked ride. My rating on this is a 7 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 6.1 out of 10. And from Hobo with a Shotgun, we go to 2005's Just Friends.
God, I love my life.
You're awesome.
Those are awesome.
Music producer Chris Brander has it all.
I saw you flirting with me out there. How could you do that to your boyfriend?
We were just friends.
But in high school, things were a little different.
You mean more to me than anyone in this whole world.
Really?
I love you, Chris. Like a brother. We're friends, right? Shut up! Just leave him alone!
Oh my God! 10 years later, touring with the world's hottest pop star.
God, I want to lick your skin off.
Will take him home for the holidays.
Hi, Mom. This is my brother, Mike. You're hot.
I know.
Now, when he sees the girl he never forgot,
Jamie,
he's going to get a second chance.
Oh my God, I can put my arms around you.
To win his first love.
Wow, Chris.
Jamie Palomino.
But it's going to be a lot harder.
We're gonna be more than just friends. Mom! I need my skates to show off my talents.
You're a lot better than before.
Than he ever thought.
You're pathetic!
I'm sorry, okay?
Want to fight hard? Don't worry, Chris, you're gonna be fine.
Jamie Palomino.
Dusty Dinkelman?
I can't compete with this guy. You see him play that guitar? It's like he has 15 fingers.
Nice outfit, by the way. Rock and roll.
That is so cute! I just want to eat you both up!
New Line Cinema presents
Not the same person I was in high school, pal.
You'll always be fat to me, Chris.
Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart, Anna Faris, and Chris Klein.
How'd the big date go? It was terrible. I went in for a kiss, but she wants a hug. Then I get caught in a sort of kiss, hug, limbo type thing.
You gave her a body shake?
Just friends.
Hey, Merry Christmas, neighbor. This is a comedy romance, directed by Roger Kumble, has a 96-minute runtime, rated PG-13, stars Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart, and Anna Faris. I watched this on Netflix. Synopsis. High school student Chris Brander loves his best friend Jamie Palomino. He finally confesses his feelings, but she tells him she just wants to be friends, and he leaves town in shame. 10 years later, Chris is a successful record executive and involved with self-absorbed pop star Samantha James. He still pines for Jamie, though, and when his plans to go to Paris for the holidays fall through, he returns to his hometown to try and win her heart. I've noticed this one a few times while browsing Netflix, and have always passed it over. Romantic comedies usually just aren't my forte. I was having one of those nights where I couldn't figure out what to watch. I was in the mood for anything. I wasn't in the mood for anything and couldn't make up my mind on the few things I was interested in. So, on a whim, I said, what the hell, and threw Just Friends on. I was surprised how much I actually like this. It's not great, but more than what I was expecting. In a lot of ways, I can relate to Ryan Reynolds' character. There are several funny moments throughout the film. It would be a good date movie or something to throw on when you want an easy, simple comedy. This isn't anything too outside the box for this type of film. Maybe a bit of a flip on the tropes of 80s teen flicks, but it didn't deviate from the formula too much. It's one of those films that nothing really stood out about, but nothing was awful either. Very middle of the road, a safe pick if you will. My rating on this was a 5 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 6.2 out of 10. So before we continue on with some more reviews, I just want to take a second to kind of plug the show's social media sites. You can add us on Facebook at Average Joe's Drive-In Podcast, on Twitter at TWJ Author, on Instagram at Thomas Washburn Jr. You can also hit up www.thomaswashburnjr.com for more information about the show and related links. If you'd like to support the show, you can buy TJ's books on Amazon. Just type in Thomas Washburn Jr. in the search. Books are available in Kindle and paperback formats. If you have Kindle Unlimited or Prime, you can read the books for free and money will be earned by the pages read. It doesn't cost you anything, and it supports the show. Up next, 2006's Ultraviolet.
Hello, my name is Violet. My name is Violet. I was born into a world you may not understand. Let me start at the beginning. Everything changed when a government lab discovered a virus that caused genetic mutation. They used it to create faster and stronger soldiers. The problem was, we became a threat.
I want them hunted down and killed.
Get on the ground! On your knees!
We've managed to eradicate almost all of them.
Those of us that survived extinction started fighting back.
If you are compromised, destroy.
Copy that.
They made her a weapon.
Killing is what I do. It's what I'm good at.
They made her a target.
The humans want me.
You jeopardize everything by coming here.
I don't have any place left to go, Garth. Besides, you have all my guns.
And in the final days of mankind's greatest war,
This is pure suicide. No one but you could have pulled this off.
she will decide their fate.
Are you mental?
Come and get it.
Projection disruption.
Why are you doing this?
Because I hate humans.
You used to be human.
But not anymore, right? I got sick and now I'm something worthy of extermination.
You won't make it out of this complex alive.
Watch me. My name is Violet. I was born into a world you may not understand.
Ultraviolet.
This is an action sci-fi thriller directed by Kurt Wimmer, has an 88-minute runtime, rated PG-13, stars Mila Jovovich, Cameron Bright, and Nick Chinlund. I watched this on DVD. Synopsis. In the late 21st century, a vampiric disease modifies people, imbuing each of them with superhuman strength, intelligence, and speed. Worldwide civil war looms as normal people, feeling threatened by their enhanced brethren, demand the extermination of the group. One such transformed female finds herself caught in the crossfire when she becomes the protector of a boy who is perceived to be a threat to humanity. I knew I'd seen this one before, but I honestly couldn't remember anything about it. That's not usually a good sign. I mean, I couldn't recall a single damn thing about this. A lot of times I'll forget stuff, but at least remember bits and pieces. This one, zilch, zero, nada. So, I threw it on and hoped for the best. Honestly, this is one confusing movie. I think they're trying to go for an original world, maybe even some sort of franchise, but this one is so disjointed and just, well, not good. I don't want to compare apples to oranges, but this reminded me of a budget Resident Evil. While I love the Resident Evil movies in a dumb fun sort of way, this one just was too all over the place. Sometimes a film could pull off a borderline confusing storyline and work. Lucy is a great example of that. This one didn't. I like some of the concepts and ideas of story throughout there with the tech. There was a few really good fight scenes. The problem being the story just wasn't good. I don't know if it was one of those deals where they had to cut a lot to get a PG-13 rating or something else. It just seems to me like there was something missing. That something might have tied things together a bit better, but who knows. Another issue, some of the effects looks downright awful. There are a few scenes where it was so blatantly green screen, they were almost painful to watch. I have seen far worse, and I can't say I absolutely hated this, but it was certainly a swing and a miss. My rating is a 3.5 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 4.4 out of 10. And following that up, something a little better, and that's 2014's What We Do in the Shadows.
Wake up, everyone! A wakey, wakey!
What?
We're gonna have a little flat meeting in the kitchen.
Okay.
When you get the 4 vampires in a flat, obviously there's going to be a lot of tension.
We'll do my dishes!
One of the unfortunate things about not having a reflection is you don't know exactly what you look like.
I go for a look which I call dead but delicious.
Hello, ladies. Vladislav used to be extremely powerful.
He would kill anybody, burning everything. It was totally great.
This is my torture chamber.
Great orgies, 20, 30 women.
He could hypnotize crowds of people.
See me. See me.
Hi, my name is Nick. I've been a vampire for 2 months.
The neighbors can see you flying around. You want to draw attention to this house,
We've got a whole documentary crew following you around.
I came to this country for love. Some people freak out a bit about the age difference. They think, what's this 96-year-old lady doing with a guy 4 times her age? They can call me cradle snatcher, who cares?
I can smell werewolves. Why don't you go smell your own crotches, huh? Bitch. Don't swear. What are we?
Werewolves, not werewolves.
Take it.
This is a private secret society, mate. You don't go bringing your bloody cameras into everything.
You will not eat the camera guy. Maybe one camera guy
here.
It's sunlight out there!
A friend has just been killed in a fatal sunlight accident.
We're just responding to reports of a rather large amount of shrieking.
Smells a bit weird in here too. What do you call that?
Barbecue.
This is a comedy horror directed by Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi. Has an 86-minute runtime, rated R, stars Jermaine Clement, Taika Waititi, and Corey Gonzalez Monsieur. I watched this on DVD. Synopsis. Vampire housemates try to cope with the complexities of modern life and show a newly turned hipster some of the perks of being undead. If you've never seen this movie and you're a fan of Monty Python style humor, you need to do yourself a favor and give it a watch. Done in a mockumentary style, a camera crew follows 4 vampires who are flatmates in New Zealand. It chronicles their everyday lives, the unique complications of being undead roommates, and what it's like to be a vampire in the modern age. The humor is dry as a bone, and that's why it works so well. It's the culmination of small moments that make it so hilarious. Those little moments are usually what had me cracking up. If you're looking for obvious humor, this isn't that type of movie. Granted, there are a few moments like that, but the majority of it's very subtle. It's one of those things that makes the movie even better because it has tremendous replay value. I've watched this 4 or 5 times now, and every time I see it, I see something new that makes me laugh. For me, this one has already reached cult classic status, and it's one I'm sure I will continue to enjoy for a long time. It's also one of those movies that get better with repeated viewings, as I said. So even if you don't get the full gist of it the first time around, make sure to give it another watch. If you like it, you'll be excited to know there's a new TV show being made based on it. I, for one, am very excited about that. I'll have to make sure I get some Paschetti and have it when I watch the show. My rating, a 9 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 7.6 out of 10. Up next, 1985's Red Sonja.
Her courage was forged out of fire. Her power, a gift of the gods. Her destiny, to become a glorious new hero. Red Sonja. Only one man on Earth is man enough to win her.
Don't be a fool.
Try it. To love her. To join her great adventure. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Lord Calidor.
Kill them.
Two legends unite to destroy the Earth's greatest evil.
God, Majesty, what you want? The world, Eichel!
We must find a way in.
Your Highness learns fast.
I make it a rule never to take a woman unless she can beat me in a fair fight.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Why not?
Brigitte Nielsen. A warrior. A woman. A magnificent new legend.
It's an action-adventure fantasy, directed by Richard Fleischer, has an 89-minute runtime, rated PG-13, stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Brigitte Nielsen, and Sandal Bergman. I watched this one on DVD. Synopsis. Power-hungry Queen Gedrin captures the priestesses guarding the talisman, a mystical orb that created and can destroy the world. But one of the priestesses escapes and seeks out her warrior sister, Red Sonja, to warn her about Gedrin's plan for world domination. Lord Calidor, the talisman's keeper, insists on helping Sonja, and though she scorns the assistance of any man, she soon gains respect for Calidor's fighting prowess. I also enjoyed this when I was younger, and I once had it in my collection. It's been a while since the last time I saw it, and I've actually wanted to give it a watch for quite a while now. So, when the opportunity struck to pick up a copy for cheap, I couldn't pass it up. Is this a good film? Not really. Is this a fun film? Yes. Yes, it is. Even though this isn't a Conan film, it's based on a character by Robert E. Howard, the creator of Conan. Quality-wise, it falls somewhere in between the original Conan and Conan the Destroyer. It has some good moments, but it's very inconsistent. The effects are good for the most part, the score fits nicely, and it's shot well. The story itself is pretty straightforward and a bit cliche. I've always had a hard time remembering what this movie was about after a few years. There's a reason for that. It's not that it isn't enjoyable, but there really isn't much to make it stand out amongst other genre films from that time period. I'm glad to have this one back in the collection. This will once again become part of my regular rotation when I view the Conan films. I would say it's a pretty safe bet if you're a fan of early 80s sword and sorcery films. You'll like this one. And like I said, I guess that's one of the good parts that, you don't remember much about the film. At least I don't. So every time I watch it, it's almost like watching it anew again. And that's not really necessarily a bad thing because I know I enjoy it. So, it's kind of a weird conundrum. And my rating for this is a 5.5 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 5 out of 10. Up next, 1979's Meatballs.
You saw what he did to Saturday Night. Now watch Bill Murray demolish Summer.
Are you ready for the summer? Are you ready for the sunshine? Are you ready for the birds and bees, the apple trees, and a whole lot of food? Are you ready for the summer?
See 300 kids from the city escape to the woods for a summer of wholesome fun in the sun.
I'm the program director, Jerry Aldini.
Is that a bra you're wearing, or are you expecting an assassination attempt?
Can I have what doctors call very active glands?
Tripper, is there something seriously wrong with you?
Meet the head counselor who knows the facts of life, but forgot them.
What the hell's going on here?
So this year, each camper will stalk and kill his own bear in our private wildlife preserve. These are the camp rules. Maury would like you all to take a look at these. We'll be in here if you want to check these out a little bit later. Cut the leg.
Okay.
Yeah, for now. But if you don't win, we cut it off. But more important than the score of this game is to score at the big social at our place tonight.
It's not how you play the game, but how you win that counts.
On top of
excitement, of course, is going to come at the end of the summer during Sexual Awareness Week. We import 200 hookers from around the world, and each camper, armed with only a thermos of coffee and $2,000 cash, tries to visit as many countries as he can. And the winner, of course, is named King of Sexual Awareness Week.
You'll be cheering for Bill Murray this summer in Meatballs.
This film was directed by Ivan Reitman, has a 94-minute runtime, rated PG, stars Bill Murray, Harvey Atkin, and Kate Lynch. I watched this one on Amazon Prime. Tripper is the head counselor at a budget summer camp called Camp North Star. In truth, he's young at heart and only marginally more mature than the campers themselves. Tripper befriends Rudy, a loner camper who has trouble fitting in. As Tripper inspires his young charges to defeat rival Camp Mohawk in the annual Olympiad competition, Rudy plays matchmaker between Tripper and Roxanne, a female counselor at North Star. I saw this one a few times when I was younger, but remember I liked it, but I couldn't remember a whole hell of a lot about the actual movie itself. When it popped up on Amazon Prime, I figured I would throw it on and give it a revisit. During the late 70s and early 80s, there was a slew of summer camp films. Some I remember being fun and goofy. Some I wasn't allowed to watch because of the content. While there was some lewd humor in it, most of it went over my young head. I also thought this was one my parents wouldn't let me watch, and I had to sneak it in when it was on HBO. The problem is, many of those summer camp films blended together in my head in a giant swirl of scenes and moments. What I thought this film was and what it was are two completely different things. I think the one I remembered stuff from was maybe a sequel, because it certainly wasn't this one. There was an alien named Meathead. That's about all I can think of when I hear the name Meatballs. Once it got going, I did begin to remember a few scenes here and there, but it wasn't coming across crystal clear to me. So I sat back and I watched. I enjoyed this one for what it was. There were some funny moments and it was an enjoyable enough film. Bill Murray was on his game as the head counselor, and it had that familiar charm of summer camp so many of these films had. It was a nice nostalgic look back at that time period and the carefree time so many of our lives, that was a part of so many of the lives of people of my age bracket. This came out a year after I was born, so while it's a bit before my time, there's a familiar relatability for me in the whole experience the film was portraying. I'm not going to lie, this really felt dated. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but because I wasn't locked into a super nostalgic tie to it, I sort of feel like it maybe didn't have quite the effect on me that it might have on people who'd grown up seeing it time and time again. We all have those movies we relate a certain time and place in our lives to. Those films that bring back fond memories whenever we throw them on. And I can certainly see this being one of those films for a lot of people. The younger generation probably would flat out hate this and think it's lame. And wouldn't get a lot of the things going on simply because of the changing times and a disconnect to how things worked back then. My rating is a 6 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 6.2 out of 10. And last is a film that another film that I've been meaning to revisit for quite some time, and that's 2001's Evolution.
This summer, they're coming.
Awesome!
To wipe that silly smile off your planet. Big ones.
Any ideas?
Little ones.
Snag one.
Snag one?
Yeah, snag one and put him in the bucket.
I seen this movie. The black dude dies first. You snag it.
Nasty ones.
Get this thing out of
It's gonna be okay, Harry.
We might have to amputate. Whoa, Doc! Don't take the leg!
Sitting for his crotch.
Dang it, take the leg!
Is there some sort of alien attack happening here?
And this kind of thing the government usually gets involved in. Shouldn't we tell them?
Absolutely not. I know those people.
David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Sean William Scott, and Julianne Moore.
It was so hot.
From Ivan Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters, Evolution.
What in the unholy crimson hell is that?
That's like a big loogie!
This film was also directed by Ivan Reitman, as was my previous review, Meatballs. This has a runtime of 101 minutes, rated PG-13, stars David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, and Julianne Moore. I watched this on Amazon Prime. Synopsis. The plot of the film follows college professor Ira Kane and geologist Harry Wlak, who investigate a meteor crash in Arizona. They discover the meteor harbors extraterrestrial life, which is evolving very quickly into large, diverse, and outlandish creatures. As I said, this is another film I've seen a handful of times, and I've always felt a bit indifferent towards it. It has some funny moments, but it's never been one of those films that stuck with me. I feel like I watch it every 3 or 4 years, and when the next time rolls around, I remember next to nothing about it. So, I saw it on Prime and decided it was time to give this one another view. The case holds up that's been the forte for all my other viewings. I don't love it, don't hate it, and I remember next to nothing about it. In fact, I'd completely forgotten Sean William Scott was even in the film. The only thing I really remembered about it was there were some weird evolutionary creatures. Besides that, it was pretty much nil for what was going on during the film department. I'm decent at remembering stuff like that, even if I can't recall a name right off the top of my head. Usually, I at least remember faces and, people that are in such of the people in the films. For this, I just draw a blank. There are only a handful of films I feel like that happens with. When it comes to the film itself, the effects are solid. They look a bit dated at times, but overall not bad. There's a handful of funny moments, and the film isn't boring. The cast is good, and I have no big issues with any of the performance. It's a perfectly fine film. What I don't get is why I don't like it more. No matter how hard I try and like it and think it's a lot of fun, I just can't, and I still feel very different about it on the whole. My rating is a 5.5 out of 10, and the average IMDb rating is 6.1 out of 10. Also, on a side note, I did not proofread this review at all, so I apologize if that was all over the place and really weird sounding. And that's going to wrap this edition of Average Joe's Drive-In up. As always, I'd like to thank my sponsors, the Maine Cannababes. Go to www.mainecannababes.com to check out everything that's going on with the babes. There's all kinds of good information and resources about cannabis, laws, regulations, all that sort of thing. Plus, you can find out what they are up to. Check out some pictures from this year's calendar, girls, and also I think you can do your pre-order. Also, if you're a sponsor or interested in becoming a part of the calendar, you can find out information about that. The website may possibly be down right now. I know they were doing some upgrade and some maintenance to it. By the time this episode airs, it may be back up. But just give you a heads up. If you don't get a chance to get right on it or whatever, go back and try again later. Yeah, that's it. Next week's episode, I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that right now. Right now, my guess is we're kind of working on it because it's kind of a last-minute deal with the Labor Day holiday coming up. And also, if the interview type thing doesn't happen and my guest isn't able to make the show, there will be another Reviewcast next week. I have a pile of reviews to catch up on. So, there will be an episode one way or the other, but I'm hoping to keep on the regular interview Reviewcast format. That seems to be working quite well right now, and I'm having a good time doing it. So before we go, as always, there's only one thing I want to leave you folks with. Remember, kids, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and I will see you sexy animals on the flip side.
It's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold. The juicy Frank sizzling hot. There's delicious coffee freshly brewed. and all kinds of ice cream and candy to tempt you. Showtime will be announced loud and clear to get you back to your car in time. So stretch your legs. Come to the snack bar now.